Alright, come on in. Hit the like button. Think about subscribing, Freddy. You're new here. Welcome to the channel, but most importantly, welcome to the Berserker family. So here is my honest review slash honest opinion of a film that I was not originally going to do, but I went to do it anyways for some reason. Kind of regret it. At the time, I don't. But it's the 2025 horror mystery film called Weapons. Now here's the plot. When all but one child from the same classroom mysteriously vanishes on the same night at the exact same time, a community is left questioning who or what is behind the disappearance. Now here's some of the casts. So this got praised heavily, and I saw a couple photos. So considering this is a horror film, I went in very nervous because everything was telling me that this was going to be on the heavy horror side of films. I can only handle a certain level of horror, as you may or may not know. I kid you not, the jump scares, there were a couple of them. Not as much as I thought there was going to be, but man, when one of the jump scares really got me. I almost had a heart attack. I'm not kidding. I sit in my chair and there's a cat, and I swear she almost flew. It's like really bad. But so it's definitely not for normal people who are not heavy or even into horror films. As that being said, I was still very invested into the mystery of what happened to the kids that night. I personally found nightmare dream sequences to be confusing, but the feel from the camera work not only added suspense to each scene, but also was very impressive to watch. So when it comes to the story, it was slow at times. But again, the mystery was what kept my interest. Did get a tiny bit boring a couple times, but like the idea of what the end results turned out to be, it was like a modern day telling of a really old horror folklore. And that's all I'm going to get into without any spoilers. But really what sold the film for me was all of the last 30 some minutes or less of the film. When stuff comes together and even gets way more interesting and kind of comically funny. But here's my rating, now come with my final thoughts. So, just an FYI, the same director did this film did the 2022 horror film called Barbarian. Over time, it's been at least 3 years, and I have thought about it since I did my review. I gave it a high rating review. I want to say that this specific film, I actually like a lot more than The Barbarian. And I'm only comparing because I don't know anything other than these two films of his that I've seen I could see. But with The Barbarian, it started out strong, but it started kind of going a little bit towards the last 20 some minutes or 30 minutes where it wasn't the best. It just kind of felt lacking. But with this, it was like the reverse in a way. So the beginning is still good compared to the last of The Barbarian, but this one, I will say it definitely has, like I said, some issues of the first like an hour or so of it being dragged a little bit, I guess you'd say, because they went like they did with The Barbarian, they did with this one as well, except more advanced. They took each character's point of view and connected them, which again they did with Barbarian. Now I could have done without the drug addict story, to be honest, even though I know where it goes. But I just think it did, like I said earlier, it did get a little bit boring in spots because of that. But for most of the part, it was actually very, very interesting, very Not as scary technically as on the huge scale of things that I was thinking it was going to. It did in the beginning within an hour. Definitely not as many jump scares as I thought. Do I personally think this was a little overrated? Just a tiny bit, to be honest, but not by much. Yeah, I mean, leave your thoughts down below. I'm not saying I didn't like this. I actually really, really like this. Is something I'd never watch again? No, and for one reason only, is because of there's a couple jump scares in there again that have almost given me a heart attack, especially one, and I won't give you where it is or what it is, but yeah, it's definitely not a film that I would normally drive to, to go to theaters or even want to watch it at home. The only reason why I watch it at home that I'm still kind of puzzled about is why I even went with it. I think it was, again, I was just trying to challenge myself on it. And I think that was kind of a big mistake, because not a big mistake, but a mistake nonetheless. It's like I can't go past a certain amount of that, but I think in the end, and I know this review is gone along pretty long, but again, at the end of the film, the last 30 minutes, I think it really comes together very well. So, but if I haven't already, leave your thoughts down below. But in the meantime, remember, I love you all. Please stay safe. Spread love, most importantly. Skull.